All right, let's talk about it with one of our favorites, our baseball insider, Steve Phillips. Steve, great to see you. The Jays and Vladimir Guerrero, I mean, these two sides were less than $2 million apart in money. Are you surprised as a former GM that this even got to arbitration?
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, listen, $2 million is $2 million, and for the team, it's their budget. And for the player, it's a statement of setting a threshold and a level. Now, look, with the arbitration ruling here, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has gotten the highest award any player's ever gotten through the arbitration process. So it's a pretty significant contract. But here's the thing. As a team, you have an obligation to your own budget, to your owner, to pay a player what he's worth and not overpay him. You also have a responsibility to the other 29 teams because, remember, arbitration is a comparison of this player to past players who are paid this much money. If the Blue Jays were to say, we'll just give them the extra $2 million, what's the big deal? Then the next time there's a player comparable, that team is now negotiating off of the extra $2 million that got thrown in. And then if they do it, they say, give an extra $1 million. Then you see the line keep moving, and that's where there's an obligation as a team and as players to do what's right for the clubs and for the players on the Player Association side. So it's much more complicated than just a negotiation. Plus, here's the thing, is that the value of Vladdy's really hard to negotiate right now. Is he the guy that had the great year a couple years ago, or is he the guy that's sort of declined the last couple of years? And therein lies the difference of trying to find the right number in a short-term deal and a long-term deal.
And, the other thing with arbitration, Steve, and I know you've been in arbitration hearings, no matter what the sport, the danger is potential long-term friction between player and team. Do you worry about that at all with Vladdy and the Jays?
I do, only because no player has ever walked out of arbitration and said, boy, I really like the executives on my team more than I did just an hour ago. It's never been said. And so, look, it hurts a little bit less when the player wins his arbitration case, but you can't unring the bell. And in those hearings, you can say all you want about how good the player is, but you say, he's great, but he's not that great. He's really good at this, but he's not that good at this. And you build them up, but you also diminish them in order to try to sell your number or the south point of the midpoint. And so it's a tough one for sure. I think in the long run, it's going to take both sides to understand that it's business. And it comes down to the agent and player and the communication. Are you holding grudges? Are you holding on to resentment that even if you don't say it, your feelings were hurt? And if you hold on to that resentment, it can crop up later in a future negotiation.
Steve, we know that Vladdy and Bo Bichette are 2 years away from unrestricted free agency status. Do you think we might see long-term deals for these two franchise cornerstones soon? Or, Steve, do you think them and their agents, might look at the relative lack of activity for the Jays this offseason and say, maybe we don't want to be a part of this long-term?
Yeah, so I don't think the lack of action in the offseason is going to chase the players away. I think it's just the deal. What is the money going to be? And for Bo Bichette, when you think about last year and all of the shortstops and Trey Turner and Xander Bogaerts and Carlos Correa and the contracts that those guys got, and Bo Bichette can say, I'm kind of like them. So I want a contract in the $300 million range, and that may not be where the Jays look at it. And then for Vlad Guerrero, as I mentioned, really tough negotiation. What is his value? Who is he as a player? Now, remember, he's the youngest player on the Blue Jays last year. We forget that. But is he the guy that had the monster season a couple years ago or the guy who's declined? And that's why they can't make a deal, because Vladdy wants to be paid like the big guy. The team will say, yeah, you're a little bit less than that. And therein lies a gap that doesn't seem negotiable right now. And so it may be that Vladdy goes to free agency and then the Jays sign him when the market says, here's your real value.
One thing I'm excited about, Steve, pitchers and catchers reporting next Thursday. It's happening. We're getting close, and we're just under
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm so with you. We're under 2 full weeks till the full squad reports in Dunedin for spring training. So we're going to be chatting with Steve a whole lot over the next little while. Thanks for this, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jay.